Hey, how you doing? This is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. Welcome in to today's subject. I want to talk about alcohol and weight loss. Or perhaps I should say the opposite, alcohol and the lack of weight loss. And why drinking is a complete diet killer. So, if you are worried about your drinking, by the way, if you've arrived at this because you're concerned and you've been searching for information, the first thing you should do is book yourself onto the next Quit Drinking webinar at the website, www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. We have the Quit Drinking boot camps coming up. San Francisco is next, but it's sold out. I'm afraid we don't have any tickets or places left for that. But New York has, I think, 7 places left. So if you're interested in quitting drinking in one intensive day, then get over to the website and reserve your place today. Don't put it off because they always sell out. So today we're talking about alcohol and weight loss. And there's some confusion about this. People generally are not 100% sure whether drinking causes weight gain or not. And the reason for this confusion, I believe, is the stereotypical image that we're fed by the media and by Hollywood of what an alcoholic looks like. And we're told that an alcoholic is kind of disheveled, malnourished, skinny, living only to drink, not eating. And so we have this image and we think, well, if these people who are consuming alcohol continuously are not fat, then it can't be a weight gainer. And that's a misconception because with severe alcoholics, people who have progressed down the stages of alcoholism so far that they're at the point where they can't function without it. If they stop drinking for any short period of time, they have severe symptoms of withdrawal. They might even have grand mal seizures. They may end up in hospital or even worse. When people get to that level of alcohol addiction, then they've done so much damage to their body and the alcohol is causing so much turmoil and chaos in their systems that actually they could be eating a lot of food, but they're just not capable to absorb it anymore. They've done so much damage to their gut and their intestines and the stomach that the nutrients, the minerals and the vitamins in the food, vitamins, I get pulled up on that by my American friends, are just not being absorbed by the body. So they're just going straight through the system. And as a result, you get that kind of wasted, malnourished look that we're constantly told is how an alcoholic looks. And so when you get a problem drinker rather than an alcoholic, and there is a difference, we'll come on to that in a minute, you get a problem drinker like me who looks in the mirror and, I was 260 pounds in weight back then, and you look at this big fat blob in the mirror and you think, well, I can't be an alcoholic. I mean, look at that. I'm too fat to be an alcoholic. So actually the truth is that problem drinkers are more likely to also be carrying extra weight, especially around the stomach for guys. You've seen that kind of beer belly look that we see when we go on vacation, around the hips, around the bum, and around the face as well, because there is a lot of empty calories, which I'm sure is a phrase that you heard, in alcohol. But actually, that's really only a very small part of the reason why alcohol is a diet killer. I spent 10 years of my drinking career trying to stop or trying to moderate my drinking, trying to cut back. And for that full decade, I was also morbidly obese and I was continually looking for new diets. I wanted to find 2 things on the internet. I wanted a silver bullet that would help me moderate my drinking, and I wanted a silver bullet that would help me lose weight. And I could find neither. And I'm going to go as far as to say this. If you are trying to lose weight and you are drinking on a regular basis, you'll never do it. You are making it impossible for yourself. It is impossible. Now, if you go on the internet right now, I guarantee you will be able to find hundreds of articles that disagree with me. And you will find most of the articles are written from the point of view how you lose weight and continue drinking at the same time. And the reason that most of the articles are written like that is what people want to hear. Drinkers do not want to hear what I am saying. People don't want to hear that if you want to lose weight successfully, you have to stop drinking completely. That's just such an unpopular message that most people are not going to waste their time writing the article because it won't get published, it won't get them any money, it won't get them this and it won't get them that. You will not lose weight in a significant amount and you will not keep it off if you are drinking alcohol on a routine basis. Now, I say routine because I don't mean if you're the sort of person who has the occasional glass of wine when you go out to a party and maybe you have a couple of glasses of wine every couple of weeks or something like that. I am not talking to you. I am talking to people who I would classify as problem drinkers. The sort of people who are entirely functioning in life. You're holding down a job, you're looking after your kids. Most of your friends and family have no idea that you're getting really miserable about your drinking, and you're waking up in the morning full of guilt and regret because you drank again, even though you said you wouldn't. But maybe you're drinking a bottle of wine a night. You're routinely getting home from work and opening that bottle of wine to deal with the stress of the day. This is problem drinking. The difference between problem drinking and being an alcoholic is problem drinkers are not physically dependent on the drug. A problem drinker can go days, weeks, or months without drinking and have no real withdrawal symptoms, just the psychological craving to drink. Whereas an alcoholic, if you take alcohol off an alcoholic, they will have physical, tangible, painful symptoms to deal with. Okay? So that's the difference between an alcoholic and a problem drinker. Now, when we get back to alcohol and weight loss, you've got several things going on here. First of all, let's talk about those empty calories. A glass of wine, and I'm not talking about a pub measure, a bar measure of wine. I'm talking about the sort of glass of wine that you pour for yourself at home at the end of the working day. Has the same number of calories in as a bar of chocolate. Let's say a Mars bar, okay? How many glasses of wine, be honest, will you drink in an evening? Back when I was a drinker, 10 would have been probably normal. You get 5 or 6 in a bottle, right? I would have always drank at least a bottle of wine a night. So let's say between 7 and 10 glasses of wine a night. When you think about it, it's so crazy. Can you imagine sitting at home on an evening every night eating 7 Mars bars? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? If every evening when you got home from work, you sat down in your armchair and you lined up 7 Mars bars that you were going to eat through the course of the evening on top of your evening meal. And you might even throw in a bag of Doritos or some chips or whatever on top of that as well. No wonder I was morbidly obese while I had a drinking problem. Now, it's true. I'm not exactly, walking around with a six-pack these days, but I did lose 57 pounds of fat when I quit drinking. So you can imagine what I was like back then. At least I can go up a flight of stairs without nearly dying, which actually, I joke about it, but that was a problem for me back then. So you've got all this crazy amount of calories that us problem drinkers are consuming on a very regular basis. If you're having a very healthy breakfast, starving yourself at lunch and having that salad that you hate but you've read in the book is good for you, and you're being really, really good until you get home on the evening and then you're eating 7 Mars bars or the equivalent of, you've got no hope in hell of losing weight. Not a chance. You're wasting your time. But it's worse than that, right? Because it's not just about the calories. Alcohol is not a food. Your body, when you drink a glass of wine, your body doesn't say, fuel, nutrients, something to sustain life. It identifies it immediately as a poison. So, you eat that hamburger and it categorizes it as food. You drink that wine, it says, okay, poison. So we've got poison and food in the system. Which one do we need to get rid of first? Poison. So your liver gets started on dealing with the poison. And your body burns the alcohol as fuel first before it does anything else. So actually what you're doing when you're drinking alcohol is you are pausing the whole metabolic process of your body. You're pausing the fat-burning processes of your body. So what happens when you have your evening meal and you drink a bottle of wine is that you have all that food sitting in your stomach and your body is going to burn not 1 calorie of it because it has a ready source of fuel in your bloodstream called alcohol. A unit of alcohol will stay in your system for about 10 hours. So all that food in your stomach can't just sit there and rot. Make sense? Your body has to do something with it. It can't just leave it there. That's not an option. So what it does is, while it's burning the alcohol for the next 10 hours, is it takes that food that you ate and it converts it into fat. Stores it as fat. So you can see why we've doubled the problem here. Not only empty calories, but the actual process the body uses to deal with alcohol stores more fat in and of itself. And that's not the end of the story. It gets even worse. My God, why does anyone drink this stuff? Third thing. The first thing that happens when you drink alcohol is it interferes with the part of your brain responsible for making sound decisions, for satiety control, and for making general choices in life. And that is why I say to people on a boot camp, you'll only ever get one decision about how much you drink. You'll get the choice of the first drink and then that's it. All other choices are not made by you, they are made by the drug. Nobody ever sets out to drink 2 bottles of wine. Back when I was a drinker, I didn't get home and go, right, okay, well, I've got 4 hours. I think if I work at it, I can definitely get through 2 bottles of wine. That was never my intention. I only cared about the first glass. And that was the choice. That was the only choice I got. Then the drug took over and made me consume 2 bottles of wine. So if you're drinking a poison that disrupts your ability to recognize when you've had enough to eat, that makes you feel hungry, and also destroys your ability to make sensible decisions, what do you think happens with your willpower on the diet? It goes out the window. Not only does your diet go out the window, but you also start craving the very types of food that are absolutely the worst thing you can have. Junk food, greasy, oily takeaway foods, bags of chips, bags of sweets and chocolate. All the very types of food that are most likely to slam the weight on you are the things that you are going to crave once alcohol gets into your brain. So, if you're worried about your drinking, whether you're a binge drinker and you only drink once a week but you go crazy when you do, or you're drinking every night like I used to do, and you also have this objective to lose some weight, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee. And I don't care what anyone else says on this. I don't care how many research articles you can find, how many cosmopolitan stories, how many tales of this or tales of that you can find that say that there are certain drinks that you can have while you're on a diet. It's bullshit, and I don't believe it. You can't lose weight if you're a problem drinker. And so you could look at this as being very bad news and how depressing, Craig, and now thanks a lot, now I'm really down in the dumps. Or you can look at this as though it's good news. Because when you stop drinking poison for fun, or under the illusion that it helps you cope with life, you get all the benefits that come with making that decision. And one of them is very, very easy weight loss. You don't have to torture yourself anymore. You don't have to starve yourself at lunch eating that salad that you hate. You can eat healthy, wholesome foods because you're going to do it in a much more disciplined, much more beneficial way. You're not going to have a really healthy breakfast, a super healthy lunch, and then 7 Mars bars for your dinner. Because alcohol is not going to be in your head, screwing everything up. And so I will leave you with that thought today. If you want some help quitting drinking, it doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be difficult, because I've shown over 50,000 people how to do this really easily. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com, sign up for the next Quit Drinking webinar, and I'll talk you through the entire process free of charge. Come to a Quit Drinking boot camp, or just drop me an email if you want some advice. Thank you so much for being with me today, and I will see you in the next episode.